All right, welcome back to Gators Gameday Live. I'm Seth Varnadore, joined by Bud Davis. Taking a look at Florida's first half against Ole Miss. I am currently at Raymond James Stadium, waiting for USF to kick at 3:30. Bud, what are your thoughts here on the first half?
This is a fun game. Both QBs are playing awesome. Um, they've moved the ball. It's kept it close. A lot of successful screens. We were talking about that. Successful screen. George getting out there and
It might be the biggest upset of the half.
yeah. Oh, that's great.
So,
Yeah.
Lagway's so good that Florida can run screens successfully now.
Yeah. I mean, it does open things up a little bit, and then George getting out there and making a killer block. But Lagway just being able to stay in the pocket. We were talking, he almost looks like, Ben Roethlisberger, like how he can be fully planted, taking a hit in the lower body, throw it all with the upper body, and make some pretty incredible plays. So he's looked great. Dart's looked awesome too. I mean, the defense obviously has let Ole Miss score twice, but I thought they played well. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked on our preview that this would probably be a big, like, bend, don't break. For the most part, they've done that. They've let a couple explosives, but this is kind of what you thought it was going to be, right? So, and then on the offensive side of the ball, Lagway's playing really well. He's got some, like, innate ability. Like, I think the ability to know I have a guy open, so I've got to get this throw out is not something you can teach. You have it or you don't, and he's got it. So he's made some unbelievable plays. This team just seems so much better than they were at the beginning of the year. It's really feels like they've come a long way. Unfortunately, it took a while to get here, but really good first half against what I think is a really, really good Ole Miss team.
Yeah, agreed. I think probably one of the most impressive things that I haven't seen coming is Florida being able to run the ball. There's a good Ole Miss run defense, and our run game has looked good. Ball, and Montrell especially. Ball's just so explosive, and he's looked awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. The announcers kind of said that, yeah, Ole Miss's rushing numbers look really good, but that's because they sacked the quarterback so much. And that counts, on rushing stats in college. So Florida, I guess, thought they could kind of push them around a little bit. So somewhat interesting to see that come to fruition a little bit. I thought Florida's been able to run the ball pretty well. And then
Maybe, but when we looked at the design runs on the preview, I mean, they still have
that's true, yeah. But I guess the Florida staff thought that they could kind of push them and run on them a little bit, and they've been able to do that somewhat. Pretty good plan for the most part. Anything in the first half? Punt decisions, fourth down decisions. Where are you on those?
I'm honestly fine with them. I think most of them, I think I've made sense. I was probably the only one that had me questioning is I think Lane should have gone for it there. I was kind of surprised he didn't, and I'm glad he didn't.
I thought he said too that instead of kicking the field goal, if when we were kind of talking back and forth a little bit, and I was like, well, too bad that was incomplete, but 4th and 6, I still think they're going to get it, and they trot the field goal team out there. You're like, oh, that's a win, even if he makes the field goal. So. I can't really share the advanced stat sheets, but you were kind of looking at them earlier. What really sticks out for you?
Let me pull them up. I got them on my phone. Right now, Ole Miss ahead in EPA per play. That kind of tracks their head in success rate and EPA per play. A lot of that probably is the interception now at this point, playing into it because we're ahead in EPA per rush. They've got a terrible EPA rush right now. Our run defense has looked really good. Our O-line, or our D-lines stopping the run game, those are all looking really impressive right now. We've got them well in the purple for almost all their running stats. So that's great. And then we're sitting at about 50th percentile for our run game, which is pretty good as well.
Whereas I thought when we kind of looked at it kind of late, middle, second quarter, the havoc rate for Ole Miss was pretty low. Is it still down there pretty low?
Yeah, it is. I mean, really, the interceptions, they're only they have an interception and 1 sack, and that's kind of it. They haven't generated many tackles for loss, things like that. So, offensive lines look good. We're winning the line of scrimmage. Both QBs are playing well. I feel pretty good in the second half. The difference right now is we've thrown a pick. We talked about what stats are we watching? We were looking at sacks. Turnovers right now are probably the big difference in the game, but it's just, high ball game, and we get the ball.
Yeah, I don't think you could have. I think if you told both of us on Wednesday when we did our preview, hey, it's going to be 14-14 at halftime, and Florida gets the ball coming out, will you take that? 100%. We both would have signed up for that for sure. So, really good first half, I think, in terms of expectations. Florida's handled the pass rush all right, so we'll see if they can kind of get going, because that's their, that was kind of the big worry. Can Florida handle the Ole Miss pass rush? So far, pretty good. Now Lagway's kind of worked his way out of a few that he probably should have been sacked, but that's part of the equation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing, I kind of want to get your thoughts on is, we talked heading into this week how Florida shifted to more too high looks, and we've gotten a lot of success out of that, being kind of bend, don't break. We've seen Ole Miss now score twice on pretty explosive passing plays against too high looks. Is that just something where Lane's really good at attacking the middle of the field, putting those safeties in conflict? Is this miscues by our safeties? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think both of them had to be really good throws too. Like, it's not like they were screaming wide open. So, the one was a pretty good. It was Mills basically, so like a Spurrier, basically a Spurrier play in the house that Spurrier built, where you run somebody in front of the safety and throw the post behind him.
Yeah.
Safety almost got there, but and played through the hands, but Trey Harris, really strong hands, held it up. So I don't know. I think sometimes you got to tip your cap, but other than that, I mean, the two big touchdowns, but there hasn't been too many like crazy explosives. So I think if you want to keep a lid on it, even if you give up some explosives, don't let them turn into touchdowns and make them finish in the red zone. And I think that's probably the plan, because they're really good on offense. Like, I don't think you're going to totally stop them, but if you can kind of slow them down and frustrate them, that's probably enough.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. Our safety play, I think maybe a little bit better, but Jackson Dart's made 2 really good throws. The receivers have made good catches. Now, I did see on Twitter Harris is out. So
yeah, that'll be. I mean, unfortunate for him, but that'll be helpful for Florida.
Yeah. I haven't seen the injury of the status of Gates. I assume he's out.
I haven't seen anything either. So that would be one to monitor for sure. But what do you think? What's the plan you think in the second half here if you're Florida, offensively and defensively? Defensively, just keep kind of the same kind of plan.
Generally, I think so, and we've seen Florida kind of play similar to how they played against LSU. We're playing a little bit off. We're almost inviting them to throw some of those screens. I think our front four are playing really well, actually getting pressure with a limited pass rush. I think you want to start mixing in a little bit more aggressive or man coverages, and kind of testing that out, so you do have some variability and we aren't just showing the same look every time. Maybe you do that, but right now I think playing a little bit more passive like we has kept us in this game, so I'm fine with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Like, especially if you're playing really good offenses and you're not, elites in man coverage, with Florida being down so many guys in the secondary, and I think keep a lid on things. If you can invite them to run the football, that's fine too. Just waiting for kind of Dart to kind of take off on one here. I think that's going to be a spot to watch for him in the running game in the second half. But I think the plan on defense is good. Offensively, I think if you can avoid kind of the penalties, that was something I started thinking about after a couple early drives. Holding penalties could be critical. So if you can kind of stay away from those. Negate the pass rush with play calls like they did on that screen. Like a beautiful screen finally happened. We talked about it on Wednesday, but we're like, it's not a very good screen team. So they just executed one perfectly for a touchdown in the first half. So, I think when you got a guy like Lagway, it seems like you're in every game.
It is such a big difference. Like,
yeah.
He makes drives that look pretty well stalled out work, plays where he should be going down, getting tackled, head down. He's got his head up looking for receivers and has the strength to to make throws, which is incredible.
Yeah, the one throw he made he made a couple throws. The guys wrapped around his waist. The other one that was great was kind of a third down. I think Florida ran mesh, so you had like DK coming across from right to left and Badger coming across left to right, and Lagway was able to kind of step up and flip it out to Badger to pick up the first down. So that kind of awareness is, I think, like, I don't know if you can teach it. I think you got to have it, and he has it. So hopefully they can kind of keep him upright in the second half. And he also seems to identify when they blitz and did a real good job. You had a slot fade for the touchdown. Ole Miss brought pressure. He immediately knew, okay, man coverage, there you go, flip it out. Don't get hit. So, I mean, he's played really well. Yeah. Great throw and catch. Badger's tough. That they do a good job getting him in one-on-ones. Got him matched up on a safety there. So I think a pretty good plan all around. Just got to finish. They were able to do it last week. We'll see if we can do it this week.
Yep. Only gripe maybe is the spacing call on third and medium early. First drive of the game, second drive, first one, right?
Yeah, I missed that one. I was at the media will call here, so I missed that one. So it didn't even happen. So well, we'll just act like it didn't happen. But yeah, I think they it seemed like since then the third down calls have not been like static, to where guys are running like hitches, and it's been crossing routes and things like that. So I think maybe they realize, okay, we can't just go totally static here. Let our guys be on the run. Lagway can kind of find them. So hopefully that's a bit of a change going forward. But break that out second and long like they did last week. So
yeah,
we'll see if we get any more spacing. But I think you got to say a really, really good first half.
Yeah.
And I think if this is the team you got from game one, everybody would be really jacked up about where the program's at. So unfortunately, it took a while to get here, but you look like you belong on a stage with a lot of people and a lot of like gambling people that talk about it. I think it's like one of the top teams in the national championship. So
for sure,
see if you can finish it off.
Yep. Well, that's all I've got. I don't know if chat has any questions or if you've got any final thoughts, but
no, we'll sit here. Anybody quit? I haven't seen William Fisher. That's how big is the Gates injury? We haven't seen yet, so I'm not positive. And then I think there's been a couple times where Florida's been able to get some pressure with the D line, but they've just haven't quite finished a play, and darts wriggled out. So if they can finish a couple of those, they'll be in good shape.
Yep.
Yeah, Robert's saying I would imagine that's how teams are going to play. Try to make him complete stuff underneath. He's done a pretty good job. I think Florida's done a couple times where they've had, they set up to make it look like a shot play, and then they have somebody kind of coming back into the intermediate.
Yep.
So hopefully you see a few more of those. But I do think if you can run the ball a little bit, you'll get a chance to take some more shots down the field. So.
And the run game has looked really impressive.
Yeah. So.
You talked about Dart keeping it. I'm waiting for Lagway to really keep and rip a big one too. We know he's got it on him. So.
Maybe we'll get like the a redo of the Kerwin Bell 2-point conversion against Auburn, where he's got a limp in to win the game here. So maybe we'll get a run DJ run instead of a run Kerwin run. So
I love it.
That'd be all right. All right. Well, I'm here in Tampa, probably annoying some people. So I'm gonna get off here. Any final questions or final thoughts, bud?
No, it's been a great game. Enjoy it, and hopefully it's as fun a second half as that first one was.
Yeah. So we may be back in the post game. We'll see how the game goes. But until then, here's a live look at USF warming up.
I love it. All right.
All right. We'll be back
Later,
maybe after the game. Go Gators. See you guys after.